What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Bengineered video. So I'm hopping on real quick in front of the boat. I figure it's fitting for a boat video, but I've got a disclaimer. So the video you're about to watch actually took place in 2020 during the COVID times. So this video, this content, and everything you're about to see is about 6 years old, and it wasn't until recently I was able to get all that footage back, and so there are some missing pieces, specifically towards the end of the video, unfortunately. However, that said, I did have a compilation of videos taken with my phone and all that I did throw at the end there to kind of show you the actual end product and how well it actually worked. Unfortunately, I do not have this JETJON anymore. I did sell it, however, up until the end there, I'm going to show you guys everything I did, the majority of the project, how I worked through it, what I used, and basically the end result. So with that, enjoy the video, and I will see you guys back on the bulldozer project this coming weekend. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. It's super sunny out, so I don't know how that's going to affect filming today, so I'll try my best. But as you guys know, we got the bulldozer started in the other video. We're waiting on some key parts there, and another project that I've wanted to tackle for a long time now is building my own jet boat. So that's what we're going to start in today's video. Right behind me here, I've got a jet ski and a jonboat. I'll kind of break down the cost of what everything's looking like it's going to be for the overall product here, and kind of run you through what the plan is. That being said, we're also going to kind of get to tearing down the boat itself. We're going to be taking out the seats, and we're going to be kind of stripping down the transom in the back, because not a lot of that's going to be left when we're done. So stay tuned. Going to give you an overview here, and can't wait to build this jet boat. Alrighty, guys, so here it is. I'll insert a clip of picking up the jet ski, kind of coming back with it on the truck. I believe it's a 1997. It is a Kawasaki SS, which is a 750 motor, and this thing is actually relatively pretty clean. Let's take this off. Yeah, there's a little bit of dirt. It's been sitting on the ground for the last 2 years. When you start looking at it, all the bolt heads are nice and shiny still. They haven't been cracked off, which tells you it's all original, for better or for worse. And believe it or not, I got it back, and I paid $200 for this whole thing. And I hooked up my jump box to it, nothing. No, like, it didn't even try, no clicking of the starter. But turns out, I was playing around with the kill switch here. Turns out the kill switch was actually broken. So I took this apart, and what was happening is it was depressing the actual switch itself, cutting off all power. So took this apart, fiddled around with this, bypassed the kill switch, and put a little bit of fuel down each of the spark plugs, and it fired right up. So super lucky there, and I can't wait to get this torn apart, clean the carburetors, clean out the fuel system, still go through all that, and actually get it in the boat. Again, it's a 750 motor, and because this is the SS model, this is rated for only 70 horsepower, a little bit less than the other 750 models, by about 10 to 15 horsepower. But honestly, 70 horsepower in a 12-foot aluminum jonboat is going to be a lot in itself. So moving over here, we actually have the jonboat itself. Again, it's a 12-foot, and I picked this thing up for $150. As you can see, it's a little rough on the inside. You have a homemade DIY camouflage job that's gonna probably end up getting stripped out using some paint stripper, and then we also have seats that are pretty messed up. They're missing and all that, but at the end of the day, that's all gonna get torn out anyway, so I wasn't too concerned. As you can see, the outside's pretty decent, actually, pretty much untouched, and there's no paint on it. Things that we're going to kind of have to end up doing is removing the board in the transom here. We're going to remove the keel support. There's a keel on the bottom, and then we're probably going to end up removing the last two ribs in here. Still to be determined how we're going to do the swap. There's a couple ways to do it, and I'm not the first one to do this, so I'm definitely going to be taking ideas from other people and kind of tweaking them and making them my own in regards to how we actually swap the engine in. Alrighty guys, so quick little update here. Spent about 10-15 minutes just tearing down everything cosmetic on here. Kind of took off the little mantle for the actual bars and all that. Haven't really gotten into any of the nitty-gritty stuff and actually into the engine compartment here yet, but that being said, kind of just taking it apart, getting ready to cut this up. I am going to cut it to kind of make my job easier once I actually get to tearing apart the engine and engine compartment. Also, I do believe I'll be using some of the fiberglass parts and parts of the hull when we go and put it in here. Again, as you guys saw, got this thing all cleaned out, and man, is there a lot of space now. So gonna keep hitting this hard, and hopefully here shortly we'll be ready to cut it up. Alrighty, well that made pretty quick work of it. Obviously like a hot knife through butter when you're moving something that fast. So now we got a clean shot at the engine and should be able to pull it here shortly. So I did some more kind of stripping down of the jet ski itself, and I got the engine out. So right behind me here, we have the engine in the jet boat, well, feature jet boat. Right now it's still just, I'd say just a John boat. So yeah, I got that all pulled out, and now I actually have the jet ski up leaning against it, and now we're gonna get to cutting out the bottom section of the hull. So right now I'm still unsure if I'm gonna take the whole kind of like tunnel assembly out of the actual hull, or if I'm going to use part of the hull and fiberglass or fasten that to the hull of the John boat. So we're going to kind of just err on the side of caution, and I'm going to cut out everything I'd need to basically fasten part of that hull and leave the whole assembly together and kind of just drop it in here. So we will see how that goes, but I'll show you guys quickly here before I get to cutting. As see, we have bunch of junk. Again, this was sitting literally in the dirt for 2 years. So you got mulch and all that in the intake, so we're gonna have to clean that out. And the hull itself isn't that great a shape, so I really don't feel bad cutting it up. That being said, we're gonna get to cutting the whole jet drive system out. So I'm gonna follow the, basically just right above the chime here, and go all the way up to right about here, which is right in front of the engine mounts. The kind of upside of doing the conversion using the part of the hull that we are looking at right now is that it will have all the engine mounts and everything is good to go and kind of how it was supposed to be. So I think that's probably what we'll end up doing. If not, we'll actually just take out the whole assembly itself, slim it down a little bit, and then fasten that into the boat. But as of right now, stay tuned. We'll get cutting this and then start sizing it up. Alrighty guys, a little update here. We got the hole for the out drive, or the jet unit, kind of cut in the back here. Again, this is not, it's hard to kind of picture what's going on here without the actual unit being dropped in. So we are going to be using the chimes here, which are the kind of flat part. It looks like a flat part from up top, but actually underneath it kind of gives the hull a bite, if you were to say, when it's in the water. So when you're turning, it gives the like you can bite into the water and it doesn't just skip out on you. So that's what a chime is. We're using the chimes to set the to kind of rest on when we put these hulls together. You'll see once we get it together how it actually will work out. You'll just have to hit the I believe button for right now. Coming up here, the biggest thing is the portion that's going to be actually in the water, and what we're lining up our cuts in the hull has to be square. So when I cut this all out, this is just rough cuts. These edges don't matter because they will actually not be in the water, and you guys will see in due time. But this leading edge cut right here is going to be most important to make sure it's squared off. Again, the back, you'll see how it all comes together. The leading edge here has to be square, so we're just going to kind of trim that up, cut it to a square, squared off, and then we'll mark out where we need to make the cuts in the hull, and then we'll put our final cuts so we can set it down in there, clean up the hull, get our sealant, and then start bolting it together. So I made my cuts, got the hull all fitted up here. As you can see, there's going to be a little gap in the back, just because the way that the transom is slanted versus the jet housing itself is actually at a true 90. Needless to say, I drilled 2 holes, put 2 carriage bolts in just to hold it in place. We are going to be using carriage bolts because the bottoms are nice and smooth. And the purpose of that is we don't want to cause any unnecessary turbulence in the water around the jet, because we don't want to cause cavitation. As you guys can see, here's a quick little look underneath. We got the again, we got the hull all fitted up, and we are going to make some sort of housing on the inside to fill the gap, and then we're also going to build a jet housing on the back, in case we ever do a reverse bucket on the jet. Right now it doesn't have one, but in the future, if we do want to have a reverse jet bucket, then having that cover on top will create a barrier so no water comes over the back. That being said, it'll also give us a nice stepping platform and some protection for the jet drive itself, because as of right now, the whole jet unit will probably stick out somewhere to about here. So to give you some perspective, we're somewhere around 18 inches or so off the transom. Again, that's just an estimate based on everything we know right now. I'm gonna get to putting in all the bolt holes now that it's all kind of lined up where I want it. I'm not going to go ahead and put the adhesive on quite yet, but that'll probably be a tomorrow job if weather permitting, and then from there we will get to cleaning up the rest of this. As you guys saw here, we got a bunch of leftover kind of foam residue and stuff. That's where I was saying they had pumped this whole area full of foam, expanding foam to lock everything in place. So we're gonna finish cleaning that up, and then we're gonna build our jet housing that will fill in all the gaps, like down here, up in here, and give us a nice surface that we can sandwich to the transom and put a backing plate on the back with another housing to actually protect the jet unit itself. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna get to putting all our bolt holes in. Like I said before, the using the chime here, it gives us a nice flat surface when we actually go to bolt and seal it up. So running down each side is about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of actual hull left. So the hull still goes out to, you can see where the cut is and how much of a flat section we have on both sides, and that gives us a nice area to sandwich down on and give us a nice tight seam once we go to seal it and bolt it up. What is up, guys? This is day 4 of the JETBOAT build, and I think I'm going to end up doing this in one whole series. It's actually been 2 days since I've worked on it last. I sealed in the hull, I put the sealant in as you guys saw, and then I bolted it up and kind of just let it set because I want to make sure that this stuff cures how it should and will give us the best results. So once everything was tightened up, sealed up, I let it sit and cure. So I'm going to show you where we're at now. We got the engine just sitting in there, kind of give you an idea of what it's going to eventually look like. Very pleased with everything so far. And today we're going to be kind of working around the pump housing here and seeing what we can come up with to fill that void and help us to make a transom plate. I don't have the aluminum I need to do the full plate along the back, but I do have enough angle iron, I believe, to kind of come up with something that will help us seal the inside portion of the transom. So stay tuned and we'll see what we can come up with. Alrighty guys, so I've been doing a little bit of work here and I'll show you what I have, or at least came up with for right now. So here's the transom plate that I'm building for it, and had to get a hole saw to make the hole for that. And then if you come around here underneath, I'll show you guys, see we have some excess, but I traced that out, and then I'll be able to follow that line and cut it and trim it to the actual like correct angles. Now, one thing to consider here, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but this plate doesn't sit flush because of the hull has, it's not perfectly, it doesn't follow the angle of the little aluminum boat there. So I'm gonna have to trim that up, which I really don't want to do because that kind of takes away the watertight integrity, also the strength in the actual fiberglass part, but I'm gonna have to do that because I want this to be flush as possible. So gonna do that, probably gonna end up having to do some fiberglass work on the inside to kind of reinforce all that on the back end of everything. I'm not sure how that's all gonna work out. Maybe I won't, maybe I will, we'll see. So right now, first things first, we're gonna get this trimmed up, get this flush, and then mount it up and start going to town with fastening it up. Alrighty guys, and with that we are going to end today's video. I will say I tallied it up. I did have all that information written down, and we were able to build this JETJON for under $750, which was my goal the whole time, and I'm so glad that I was able to pull it off like that. There are deals out there where you can find cheap jet skis, cheap John boats, and cheap trailers. I think I paid $65 for that trailer, and the tires on it were still good. So really all it came down was registration fees, hardware, ancillary sealants, metal, stuff like that, so which made up the rest of the $750. So with that, again, I appreciate the continued support throughout all these projects. This weekend we'll be back on this project, and you guys do not want to miss what's coming next on this bulldozer. Not to give away any hints, but we had a major breakthrough, and I am so excited to continue forward on this. So with that, we'll see you on the next one, guys.